We will use a small screwdriver to remove the dust ring. Now locate the 3 dowel feet screws around the rim of the watch. Loosen these 2 or 3 turns, but do not remove them. Insert the tip of the small screwdriver between the movement and the dowel and gently pry up. If the dowel doesn't want to come up, make sure all the screws are loosened. The second hand should come off with the dowel. Now, take your tweezers and lift the dowel straight off. Here you can see where the 2 dowels have been soldered in, and you can also see the 3 dowel feet. Go ahead and tighten the 3 dowel screws back down to prevent them from vibrating out in the ultrasonic. Now we can start removing the motion works. First, remove the dowel washer. The dowel washer helps to make sure that the hour wheel stays engaged with the minute wheel. Next, remove the hour wheel. Here you can see the cannon pinion. It supports the minute hand. And this is the minute wheel. This is a lever set watch. You can see here how the lever functions to put the watch into the set or winding position. We're going to use a movement stand to support the movement while we disassemble it. Place the movement on the movement stand and tighten the screw just enough to hold the movement securely. Now I want to take a moment to talk about screwdriver technique. Hold the screwdriver in your hand as shown here with your finger resting on top for support. It's important when working on a watch to try to select a screwdriver that closely fits the size of the head of the screw that you're trying to remove. After loosening the balance cock screw, lift the balance cock straight up, being cautious not to distort the hairspring. We're going to take a pin vise with a broken watch staff in it and use it as a bench key. Before we can disassemble the watch, we need to let the power off the mainspring. We're going to take the bench key, inserting it into the winding hole, and locate the small letdown hole underneath the mainspring barrel shown here. Insert the tip of a small screwdriver into this hole to release the click. While simultaneously rotating the bench key in the direction that you would wind the watch, put pressure on the screwdriver in the letdown hole to release the click and let the pin vise rotate slowly in your hands. Now that we have the power off the mainspring, we can go ahead and remove the mainspring barrel bridge. It's held on by 2 screws. Go ahead and remove these 2 screws and set them aside. Next, insert your tweezers between the mainspring barrel and the bottom of the bridge and pry up gently to remove the mainspring barrel bridge. Next, to remove the mainspring barrel itself, lift up on the end of the mainspring barrel arbor with your tweezers and slide it out and set it aside. Here is the click. This is what you were pushing on with the small screwdriver in the letdown hole. Now we can remove the ratchet wheel, followed by the click. Okay, now we're going to remove the plate. You see it's supported by pillars. Take your tweezers and insert them in around each one of the pillars and pry up very gently to raise the plate. Next, slide the plate towards the mainspring and lift off. Now I want to take a moment to identify all the train wheels before we start removing them. First is the center wheel, next is the third wheel, then the fourth wheel, which supports the second hand, then the escape wheel, and the pallet fork. First, remove the pallet fork. I'll give you a close-up shot of each one of these as I remove them. Next, the escape wheel. Now the third wheel. And the fourth wheel. This is the one with the long pivot. Now we're going to use the bench key to remove the cannon pinion. Put the bench key over the cannon pinion, snug it up, and gently rotate the cannon pinion back and forth while pulling up to remove it. Now we can remove the center wheel. Now we can get started removing the setting mechanism. First, remove the screw and the set lever. Next, remove the large screw and the vibrating arm. Note that this screw must be turned to the right in order to loosen it. Now we lift up the vibrating arm. We can see the intermediate winding wheel and the intermediate setting wheel, along with the main wheel. Next, loosen the screw that holds the winding stem in. Shown here are the plate jewels and their settings, along with the balance jewel, to remove the balance jewels, loosen the two screws shown here, take the points of your tweezers or a piece of pegwood, press on the jewel setting, not the jewel, to release it from the plate. Note that as with the balance cock, there is a hole jewel and a cap jewel. To remove the mainspring barrel cap, first locate the small slot in the cap. Insert a small screwdriver and twist gently while prying up to remove the mainspring barrel cap. Next, with a pair of smooth jaw pliers, grasp the mainspring barrel arbor and twist it in the opposite direction of the mainspring and remove it. Grasp the center of the mainspring with a pair of smooth jaw pliers. Put the barrel in the palm of your hand as shown here. Wrap your fingers around it and gently work the mainspring out of the mainspring barrel. Be careful not to distort the mainspring. Take a moment to look at this mainspring in relation to the size of the barrel. This mainspring is taken a set. In other words, it's not providing full power to the watch. The mainspring should be about 4 times the size of the barrel and should resemble the one shown in this shot. The one on the right is a new mainspring. By comparison, the one in the center is the one that we just removed that is set. Your mainspring should be replaced if it looks like this one.